Welcome to Integrity Live. Today we're with Spike Summers, but before I talk to you...
Is she really going out
The first ever punk single.
Yes, it was the first punk single, as you say. So, Spike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much, Robert Mieda, my old mate.
Oh, my old mate. Yeah, we'll talk about a bit of that later. So, for the people that don't know you, because there's quite a few people that do, some infamous people that know you, which will come. We won't talk about anything else at the moment, but tell us a little bit about yourself. So, who is Spike Summers?
Who is Spike Summers? Okay, well, basically now, at this current moment in time, he kind of like does fashion and a bit of music, promoting progressive causes, and that's about it. But I mean, like, I've been doing music for quite a long time. I was in a punk band in '79 to '80. And then on and off, I've been sort of traveling around the world, putting bands together in various weird locations, recording albums, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, punk bands, hence the Damned and New Rose. So, have you ever covered that, by the way?
I think I have. Yes, I have covered that quite recently. In the last 2 or 3 years. I've done New Rose. I've done a couple of Damned songs. There's one called Your Eyes, which was one that reminded me of an old girlfriend that was from way back. That was on the Music for the Pleasure album, which was kind of the lost album. Nobody really knows about that one.
And I'm good. I'm lucky. I've seen the Damned 5, 6, 7 times in concert because my friend Gary drummed for them for a while. So
yeah,
backstage and meet the captain and Dave Vanian and all that. So yeah, it's good fun. Great band. Great band.
He didn't set light to you, did he, the captain?
No, he didn't. No, he came back. He came on stage for the encore wearing a dress. Seriously.
I went to see him play at Brighton and he came on wearing a Pompey scarf.
What a character. Mind you, he lives in Brighton, so
yeah.
A Brighton boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Backstage we're chatting about Christmas presents and things like that and the price of stuff. And some girl asked to sign him, and he just turned over and lifted up his dress, and she wrote on his bottom. So naturally, being me, I got a pen and did the same thing. So, yeah. We haven't seen each other for quite a while now, Spike, have we? It's been a long time.
Yeah. It's been a while now. Yeah.
Since the last time I saw you, you've been abroad, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been in, since I last saw you, I've been in Kuwait and the Canary Islands and probably somewhere else. Wales, does that count as abroad?
Well, it will do soon with Brexit, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was you doing in Kuwait? Music or?
You know, in Kuwait, I was just sort of like teaching English. That's how, like when music, because I'm spectacularly unsuccessful as a rock star. But I do it with such panache that I get away with it. But, you know, I mean, like you have to keep the wolf in the door. So every so often I go out and do a bit of English language teaching.
Oh,
yeah. But I also, when I'm there, I always take recording equipment over with me and record a few songs. Last time I was out there, I did a a song called "My Valentine Plays Bass," which was an ode to all the women that all famous women that have played bass, like Susie Quattro and Kim Deal and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I wrote that on wrote and recorded it on Valentine's Day. That's quite a cool number, actually. It starts off jazzy, then goes into dance music, and then finishes off being sort of like a huge rock.
Oh wow! Very interesting.
Yeah.
So have you got anything you want to release soon, or you've been working on anything?
Actually, I've got getting stuff back up. I've got to actually start releasing it. I've just taken all my stuff off iTunes and all that in preparation for re-releasing it all. But the last two albums, when I was in Wales, remember I said I was in Wales. I did something. I started rehearsing with a bass player in his garage. So, and this turned into the Garage Band project. So we were in South Wales, in Llanelli. So we were recording the bass and drums and the rhythm guitar and vocals there. And then I went up to Bangor, where I met a guy called Dave Andrews, who's like a fantastic guitarist. And he put lead guitar on it. So all that stuff is in the can, but I've got to mix and master that and get it ready for release. And since then, back in '96, I recorded an album in Oman. I recorded two albums in Oman, but the first one was probably the better one. Was only an acoustic, like a sort of Bob Dylan-y thing. So just recently, I've been over the lockdown. I've been revisiting that, trying to remember what I played, and yeah, and which actually it came back to me more quickly than I thought it would. But anyway, that's being recorded like with a full band sound now. Sort of bass, drums, keyboards, all sorts, and bells and whistles, and my dulcet tones, obviously. But interestingly, it was kind of like I was hugely in love back then. I was much better looking back then.
You look all right now.
Yeah. A man of a certain age.
We're all getting on a bit now. I think we're all aged during lockdown as well, That's true. So, yeah, so anyway, I was writing all these songs about past girlfriends, and then I fell head over heels in love with another girl and wrote 7 songs about her and finished the album off, which is a 14-song album. And they're pretty good songs. And one of them potentially could be a huge hit. It's a beautiful song. You got to think these days it's harder to not harder to release, but it's harder to get stuff played now. It's easy to get stuff played in one respect. Another respect, you can't go out and tour, and it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean these days it's hard to get a band together. It's hard to find play. If you do get a band together, then it's hard to find places to play. I mean, it's all this pay to play in London, venues like the Dublin Castle and the Bowery and stuff like that. You virtually have to guarantee an audience of a certain amount.
Yeah.
and they expect you to promote it as well. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. These days you have to do like everything. You have to promote your music, you have to write it, you have to produce it, you have to, play all the instruments. It's crazy. But hey, we love it. So
what man band would do well these days?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, music is still my greatest love, and I know it's yours and that. Have you got any great musical stories about some of your heroes? Have you ever met any of your heroes?
I have met a few.
You know what I'm leading up
Have
to.
you heard of this bloke from, where is it, Dartford or somewhere, called Richards?
Never.
Never heard of him. Yeah,
No.
he bumped into some bloke called Michael.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Yeah.
Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, eh?
Yeah,
I hear you sent him fine at one point.
Well, he lives like when I was a kid, I lived in a place called Bracklesham Bay, and the next village along was East Wittering, and then the next one was West Wittering, all very close along the coastline there. And in West Wittering, in a place called Redlands, lived this bloke, you know, this Richards fella. Yeah. Anyway, so I was in Chichester is a market town. They have a cross in the centre, and when you're sitting in the middle of it, you're kind of obscured from view.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got there at about 4 or 5 o'clock when I was supposed to meet my girlfriend, and I was actually early. I was 5 minutes early, and I was feeling very proud of myself because that was very unusual back then.
I'm just going to write that down. Spike was early.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was sitting there, and it got to 4 o'clock, and I thought, she's late. Ha. I'm going to have brownie points here because she's late and I'm early for once. It's usually the other way around, as you can imagine. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and then I suddenly think, oh, damn, I was meant to meet her at Eastgate. I wasn't meant to meet her at the cross. Damn it. So I go flying out from the center of the cross, past one of the like pillion things or whatever they're called, pillars. And I bump into somebody and knock this fella to the ground. And I spin round, and I'm like, apologizing profusely, thinking I've got to get away, I've got to get back on time. And I'm kind of like offering this guy my hand, and he's like, and then I look round, and there's these two really heavy goons either side of me, and the guy on the floor is saying, no, it's all right, it was an accident. And I'm sort of thinking, well, this guy looks vaguely familiar. Anyway, I help him up, saying, look, I'm really, really sorry, but I've got to go and meet my girlfriend. And just as I'm walking away, I think, F me. That was Keith Richards.
Jeez.
And so that was my one of my Rolling Stones stories. I have one more.
Did he write a song about it at all? My meeting with Spike, you know?
I'm sure he must have done, but I think it got taken off the album. I think they were too rude, apparently. No. I'm lucky he didn't have his knife on him.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I actually wrote a song about him not so long, about 5 or 6 years ago, called Higher Than Keith Richards.
not many people could get higher than Keith Richards.
No. Snoop Dogg for who's that country singer? Willie Nelson, maybe. Can you imagine Willie Nelson, Snoop Dogg, and Keith Richards having a party?
Oh, no. You'd have to be holding an off license.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Let me ask you, going back to your music, have you learned anything new during lockdown, like editing music or?
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of mixing. That's why everything's taking so long, because I've learned more about mixing, the art of mixing, and also a bit about the art of mastering, which is two things that normally musicians back in the day wouldn't have had to touch.
No, right,
These days you do, and the more you learn about it, of course, the longer it takes, because there's more to do. And so anyway, I've got the song sounding like really good. All or the one that I've managed to mix so far. But it means that I've got to go back through them all and remix them all. But it was a learning curve. But it's kind of strange because you do like these hundreds and hundreds of different steps, and like each one only changes the sound like minusculely. But it's like evolution. By the time you get from the plankton to the human being, there's a great, you can hear a major difference. But each little step is just an incremental improvement. So you don't hear it while you're doing it. It's only when you play back the original and you play back what you've got at the end that you can hear it.
So it's a bit more hats off to the engineers then.
Yeah, that's right. Although Sodom, because I'm the engineer now.
That's a piece of grass, isn't it? It's a piece of grass.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put the tennis racket down.
I think last time I actually saw you, we had a meal together, didn't we? In
East London somewhere.
In John Old Street, where they had the steaks. It was a lovely steak. And I remember that girl next to us thought you was Bill Nye.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, when I have my glasses on rather than my cool John Lennon shades,
absolutely,
put these things on, I look even more like Bill Nye.
I remember we were sitting there eating, and she kept looking over, and you was talking about your new album, and she was looking, and I said, "You're all right." So she, is that Bill Nye? Yeah, well, we told her, but never mind. And before that, I think the time I saw you before, one of the times I saw that was at our show, Leahs show in Southall.
That's right, in London. Yeah.
Did you sing? I can't remember now. Did you sing at that show?
At the end of the night.
End of the night, was it? Yeah.
Everybody was very, very drunk. I sang a couple of numbers. I think one of them was Melody Switch, which was an ode to Lady Gaga.
Nice. And
another one was You Was Stupid, which was how bad Donald Trump supporters are.
Well, he's still in at the moment, although he's not, if you know what I mean.
He refuses to concede, and I think everybody knows that it's a done deal now. And
he knows. Yeah.
I think he knows. So people are actually saying that he's trying to scam people, trying to get people to pay him to concede. He's trying to make one big last score before he leaves office.
Not that he doesn't need the money, no.
No. Well, apparently he does. Apparently he's broke.
I don't think these people are ever as broke as they say they are.
No.
I mean, like you've always got to be under the mattress, you know.
Mm.
Growing up, Spike, who were your musical influences then? Who was your biggest heroes?
Right, okay.
And who are they now? Because obviously times change as you get older.
Right, well, growing up, I remember the moment, I think I saw in 76 or 75, I saw a concert by the Rolling Stones in Paris. He was playing in Paris. It actually came out on the Love You Live album. It was that tour. Anyway, I saw Mick Jagger throwing water over the audience during You Can't Always Get What You Want, and he was cavorting around and moving around. And I thought, that's so cool.
Mm.
I want to do that. So I kind of like aped. My stage act has pretty much been aping Jagger ever since, but a bit more. But then John Lydon, and the Sex Pistols came along, Johnny Rotten.
Yeah.
And then I thought, back then, like before punk, you just thought, oh, these guys are so far above me.
Yeah.
There's no, especially in rural Sussex, there's no way I'm going to get there. But then, the punk thing happened, and it was like, here's one chord, here's two, here's another, now go and form a band, and everybody can do it. And the DIY kind of like ethic started. So me and my mates formed a band, and then that was it, really. started. So Rotten was like the guy that showed me I could do it, but Jagger was the blueprint, and the thing that made me really want to be it. The songwriting element started even earlier than that.
Okay.
I was up at my cousin's house, and they had an album by Sparks, Kimono My House, Mon Amour.
Absolutely brilliant album.
It is a great album, but it had a lyric sheet in it, which was
very rare in them days.
Yeah, and so I could like listen and hear every word and look at the lyrics. And to me, this was, I was about 14 or 13 at the time. This was a revelation. And from that day on, I started writing lyrics, not knowing that I'd ever actually get in a band and start doing it properly. But that album. I made my parents get it for Christmas for me. And that was it. Now, the other big influences as I got a bit older would have been Bowie, major influence. I think he's definitely in my DNA now. I think he's in most musicians' DNA, to be honest. So Bowie, Lou Reed, Iggy Pop, those people I love. The Lou Reed thing I really liked. I liked that. Kind of like he would play really soft, sweet music with really tough, hard-hitting street lyrics, which, or he would do it the other way around. He would have like really heavy music and then a really sweet lyric. And that's kind of like a bit like what I do. I think I've always been following that a bit ever since. And then obviously the punk thing, that was huge. The Damned, the Pistols, the adverts. I like the adverts a lot.
I like the adverts, yeah.
Yeah. Later on, the 80s, mid 80s, I didn't really do too much, but then Nirvana inspired me later. That whole like soft verses, heavy chorus kind of dynamic they had. They'd have really pretty verses. Something the Pixies. Well, they got it off the Pixies, but I didn't know at the time. But then that kind of like added to my music. So then the dance elements would come in with the Happy Mondays, Primal Scream, those kind of bands around the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. Then Hole, I liked Hole a lot. Courtney after
You're too keen on the Hole, no.
No. Yeah. Anyway. So moving on. Then Jack White, I liked a lot when he came out, early 2000s. Then in the mid ones, I started getting into quite a bit of pop, Gaga, Perry, that kind of thing. Taylor Swift.
I do like Lady Gaga. Yeah, Taylor Swift's not bad, but Lady Gaga is fabulous. Yeah. Absolutely fabulous. Yeah. Yeah,
and then I suppose more recently, I'm trying to think what there was a band that did I can't remember. There's a couple of bands, and I can't think of the names that have kind of like I like at the moment, but. Wolf Alice. I don't know whether you've come across Wolf Alice.
I know, to look them up. Yeah.
Well worth checking out. They've been around for about the last 5 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of the darlings of the NME kind of thing. But they're really good. They've got female vocalist and do this kind of like alternative stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
I like to have a nose. I like to have a look. I like to discover new bands, and get told about them. So cheers.
Yeah. Courtney Barnett, who's an Australian alternative songstress. She's got great lyrics, kind of a soft music, but great music. Kind of alternative soft. I don't know, some like some of those Velvet Underground love songs, or you know, Venus in Furs, something like that. She kind of like does that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
How do you see music in the future with what's going on at the moment? If we obviously we are going to come out of this pandemic soon or eventually, how do you see it going to be? Because a lot of people are still going to be worried, aren't they, going out to venues, mixing with people?
Well, I think a lot of venues will
close.
I mean, like, there's enough of them closed already. I think there's going to be even fewer. Well, I mean, pubs in general, there's going to be fewer. We've been losing them. There was a time back in the 80s when we had more pubs than banks.
Yeah. More pubs and cafes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like you couldn't walk two yards down the high street without hitting a pub.
I mean, Camden was brilliant for going to see different bands and all these little venues and that, but half on now, and it's exactly. Sad.
The Dublin Castle's still there. I played there in 2010.
Been in the Fiddler's Elbow a few times, but I don't know how these are going to survive, and it's really worrying.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, bands can only make money by doing gigs now. They can't really make it through record sales anymore. That's gone. That's a thing of the past. There's got to be a new. The other thing that I find worrying about that is like people want their music for free and they'll download it and they won't. I know you're great. You buy all your CDs and everything, but everybody else is doing these subscription things, which I do myself. You know, I mean, it's great to have all that music at your disposal, but there's got to be, like, record companies can't afford to invest in new talent the way they used to. Take a punt on new bands. They can't do that because they're just going to go put all their money into surefire things like Adele or Lady Gaga or something like that. So how young bands are going to get picked up, and I think it's just going to end up being a sort of like underground do-it-yourself kind of thing. But how you actually make a lot of money out of that, I don't know. You don't need a lot of money. I mean, just enough money to put a roof over your head.
Yeah.
And so you can eat and carry on producing music. That's all you want to do. But what the future holds, I don't know. I mean, the future of the world is, you know, I mean, we've got pandemic, we've got global warming, we've got all these things. And I just don't think that the old-fashioned view of capitalism can cope with it, or is equipped, you know.
And with all this going on, and we've got no deal Brexit as well.
That is gonna happen. That was always going to happen. Yeah, that's going to happen in January.
Yeah. And
then I think Boris is going to say goodbye. Because he doesn't want to be around for what's going to happen when that.
I actually think he'll be thrown under the bus. I think they'll out him, but they won't do it yet because he's there as a scapegoat for COVID.
Yeah. But I think it's already started. I mean, when they got rid of Cummings the other day, I think that's because some other Cummings was basically telling Boris what to do, and now I think somebody else is telling him what to do. Who it is, I'm not sure. I'm sure that will come out in the wash. Whoever takes over after is the person controlling Boris's puppet strings at the moment. But anyway, I don't want to get too political.
I think Cummings could be the new Guy Fawkes.
Well, he could be. Did you see that beer that they made, that Brewdog made?
No.
Oh, it's what was the castle he visited?
Oh, yeah, I know the one you mean, yeah. Yeah,
he went to something castle. It was. Hang on, I've got it.
I mean, on Donegal Castle, but it's something weird like that.
Yeah. Anyway, it was sort of the Dongle, whatever it was, castle eye test, and gradually the writing got more and more blurred as it went down. And they had this out within this can of beer. You can buy it in the shops now. They had it out within a few days of. I'm just looking. Brewdog, Bernard Castle.
Burnout, that's it, yeah.
I don't know. Where's my camera?
Turn it around a little bit. That's it. Gotcha. Yes, we'll have to get some of that.
Eye test, yeah. Yeah, I think that in one fell swoop, he just discredited the government completely. You know, everybody was shutting down, and we were actually being very good then.
Yeah,
not like
being very good.
I think now we're pretty bad at. Well, it's only a half-hearted shutdown anyway, isn't it? It's nothing like what it was.
Anyway, at least you know if you need an eye test, just go for a long drive during lockdown.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna have to knock this on the head very short, but I'm going to ask you one last question. But if I just tell you, in honour of you, I've worn my Fender T-shirt today.
All right, yeah, I do use Fenders quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like to thank Leah anyway for introducing us all them years ago. So it was quite good of her. Bless her. She's a good girl, younger Leah.
She's great, yeah.
Oh, she's brilliant. Now, as you know, we are called integrity. So what does integrity mean to Spike?
What does integrity mean? It means basically not lying, telling the truth as you see it. I think I can basically sum it up. When I was a kid, like even before I came across the Sparks album and whatnot, I remember when I was 12 or 13 or something, lying on the grass, looking up at the sky, you know, as you do, thinking, what's it all about? What's it all about? Why are we here? You know, there were some friends with me and we were coming up, you know, why are we here? Why were we put here? You know, I hadn't completely disregarded religion by then. The only answer I could come up with is to try and make the world a better place than when you leave. When you try and make it better by the time you've left. However much, however small you change it. Yeah, I mean, I've always been trying to. I put a charity. I try to put charity shows on quite a bit. I did it in Egypt in a place called Dahab. We had Dahab Live Aid, and we made enough money for a school to have fresh water, which it didn't at the time, you know, and also it was the money was split between this school and animal welfare. So that was good. I just managed, you know, we got about 5 or 6, probably 7 acts together, and we played out throughout the day, and people came and they were putting money into collection boxes, and we made a difference in a small way, not in a big way, but just a small way, and that made me feel proud, you know, that I'd had a hand in doing that.
Excellent. So, well, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Can't wait till we meet up for a beer and something to eat again in the near future.
We will do. Hopefully around the second when the lockdown's supposed to stop.
I don't think it will. I think it'll either shut it, do the lockdown stop, then have another tier system.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, my birthday's December the 2nd, so it would be good if we could get it. Anyway.
Well, on that note, actually, I'd like to thank you, Spike, as well, because on my birthday recently, you said you can't drink alone. You phoned me up, and then we did a Zoom meeting or StreamYard as it was, and we had a drink live together. And I thought, thank you very much for that. It's very kind of you. Yeah.
No, well, I mean, like, great. I mean, that's brilliant. I think people are beginning to use technology more to meet up because of lockdown. That's the one good thing that's come out of it. People, even old duffers like me, are using.
Listen, I'm going to say thank you again once for this. It's been brilliant. Thanks for all your stories. And if Keith Richards looking, it's him. It's him.
Cheers, mate.
All the best. Talk to you soon.
Cheers. Yeah. Bye-bye, mate.